Hello and welcome to In Focus. I'm your host, Yesenia Taveras. With over 10 years of experience in the fashion industry, Sara Crawford-Jones has worked with brands like Tommy Hilfiger, H&M, and DDC Lab. In 2004, she created her own fashion brand, Anara Original, which was featured in LA Fashion Week, Philadelphia Fashion Week, and this year her signature designs made their way to New York Fashion Week. Sara is also an author, speaker, blogger, community activist, and an albino-African American woman who has a slight visual impairment. She currently is the program director at the Women's Business Center at True Access Capital, where she's expanded the reach, programming, and services offered for women entrepreneurs. She joins us now to share her journey and to discuss the programs provided by the Women's Business Center under her leadership. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, such a pleasure. Yes, you're so well encompassed in so many different areas as an entrepreneur, fashion designer, author, blogger. Let's go back a little bit though, because you are really putting Delaware on the map.
I hope so.
Yes. You're from Delaware. You're making national trend not only in the fashion industry but also with Women's Business Center. Talk to us a little bit about your upbringing here in Delaware.
So I was born and raised in Newcastle, Delaware, and my education mostly is in Delaware. St. Peter's Cathedral, which is downtown on Tatnall Street, and then I went to Padua Academy. Yes. So, that's pretty much what where I'm from and what I was doing education-wise. I went to college in Florida. I went to International Academy of Design and Technology. But here in Delaware, I was raised by my mom and my dad in Newcastle, and I just had a vision, and they nurtured it. We made it happen.
Wonderful. Oh, here you are with your parents. And talk to us, take us back to this little kid that we see here, this young, beautiful girl, growing up albino here in Delaware and just in the world, I can imagine. What are some of the challenges or experiences you can share with us so therefore other albino African American people that are watching, and not only that, just people being sensitive to your experiences will know what it's like, what you've been through?
So I don't want to stereotype and just say like Delaware, but obviously I'm from here. But in a general sense, I just think, oh, it's so cute. I love these pictures. Growing up as an albino, it's just really hard. You look different. So, and when you're kids are just naturally like honest, and they don't know. So, when you're a kid, you don't know the kids are naturally honest, and they're just, being honest. It's just hard because they don't understand. So they tease you, they bully you, they have a lot of questions. So, my mom and dad, I feel like they were really good about educating me, one, on who I was and what albinism was and how it affected me. So then, as a kid, you don't really know how to educate, but, people would say, oh, are you white? And they would have all these questions. Are you, what color are you? And, I'm just like, I'm black. And then they would tell me I wasn't. And I'm like, well, I just told you I was black. So why are you fighting me? Right. That's like smaller age. When you get a little bit older, it kind of becomes annoying because you're comfortable with who you are, but other people kind of have an issue with who you are. Okay. So it was difficult, but I worked through it. And I think more so as I got older, it became more of a motivation. Okay. People telling you that, oh, you're so different and this, that, and the third, and staring. And I know one of the things that we'll probably get into is the fact that with albinism, you do have different types of visual impairment. Okay. So I know you mentioned I have a slight visual impairment, so I'm farsighted. So I have a difficult time seeing things, it's nearsighted, I'm sorry. Nearsighted, I have a difficult time seeing things that are at a distance. Okay. So with that coming along with the albinism looking different and then having like a little bit of a disability too, kids are like, kids, adults, oh, well, you can't do this, you can't do that because you can't see far away and things of that nature. So it was motivation. It was motivation for me to literally take it and fuel me to do everything I wanted to do. So when somebody tells me I can't, in the inside, low key, it makes me want to do it even more.
Yes, and you've become so successful. I mean, one can only imagine how much this can become a setback, just with mental health and just people bullying you. But you continue to push through. You graduated with your bachelor's degree. When did you fall in love with fashion?
So we were on a family trip. It was me and my mom, my sister and my niece years ago, and Lancaster Outlets in Pennsylvania. At that time, they had a Donna Karan outlet. Donna Karan is one of my favorite designers, and we were in the store, and I was of age that I didn't have any money, so I didn't have a job, but I was there with my mom, so I was just like, if I see something, I can ask my mom. And, I was going, just walking through the store, and that was very mature clothing for the age that I was at, but I loved it. It was tailored, it was clean, it was structured, and there was this one blouse that I found. It was more like cerulean green, and it's kind of in style now. It had like the tie at the neck, and it was sheer. It was just really clean and pretty. I literally at that moment just fell in love with it, and I was like, I'm going to be a designer. I'm going to design clothes. This is what I'm going to do. So from that moment on, that's all I talked about. And as a kid, you think it's a phase, because kids go through phases of things they say they want to be, but I never stopped talking about it. So I think at some point, my parents knew it wasn't just a phase, and that I really wanted to be a designer, so they nurtured that. I always attribute my parents because my mom can sew and my dad could draw, so I kind of naturally had like a creative gene anyway, so it just made sense.
And talk to us about just you being able to work for like Tommy Hilfiger and H&M and DDC Lab, and then also at that transitional period where you said, you know what, I can do this for myself.
So I think working for any brand, I've worked for so many brands doing different things, some merchandising, some design, some production. So I think what happens is when you work for these other brands, you really see the inside workings of what it is on the back end, because we're consumers. We see clothes. We don't know what it really takes process wise to make all of those things happen, or to do a collection.
Details.
Yeah, all the details. So for DDC Lab, I always talk about them so highly, and all of the brands actually, but them so much because I did my internship with them and then I worked with them. And they were very similar into what I wanted to someday do. They're a limited quantity order brand, so they only do maybe a run of maybe 3 or 4 of an item. And then they're pretty much done with it. They may rerun it depending on the popularity or the demand for it. But they really taught me how to get into the production side of fashion and how to distress things and kind of cut a few corners because they're a smaller brand. So I really, really, really think that everything I've learned with them and with H&M and Joseph A. Banks doing visual merchandising, everything I've done has led me to that point. And it just got to the point where it was like, I kind of want to have the freedom to do what I want to do. I'm different. I march to the beat of my own drum. That's always been. So it was only natural that I would create a brand that was an extension of me.
And let's talk about that extension, because it's not only a brand, you have so many platforms that you speak of. You're actually like an activist as well. Talk to us about your fashion design brand and how'd you come up with the name?
So Anara Original, Anara is A-N. The A and N is from my middle name, which is Ann. And my first name is Sara, so the A-R-A. I didn't necessarily want the brand to be named after me, but I did want it to be an extension of me. So I just took the combination of my names and created them. And original, I always felt like I was created original and different with my albinism. So it just made sense. I just added the original on the end. So, Anara Original has changed over the years. We have evolved I have definitely done different things with this brand. But a few years ago, I wanted to do some Christmas photos and I wanted to wear a tutu. And I couldn't find one in the store. They have them on Amazon, and as much as I love Amazon, they're not full. They're a little thin and on the cheaper side. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to create a tutu. I created a fire engine red tutu, and the kind of like the rest was history. So at that moment, I really pivoted and I changed my brand to a custom tutu brand. But we also do additional things as well. But we have a custom T-shirt portion, and then we have the custom tutus.
I love the shots within our city.
Yes,
so beautiful.
Yes, it's funny because Wilmington has so many cute little corners and crevices. People don't know, and I love to pay homage to my city as much as I can, because this is my home.
Yes, and you've taken our city everywhere, LA, Philly, New York.
Yes, always, always in my heart.
Yes, that's a beautiful thing. Talk to us about being a part of these fashion weeks and what's that meant for your brand.
So LA Fashion Week was, I think, one of the first ones I did, and it was an honor. It's all the way across the country, and it was an honor. I did it in a local showroom with some other brands. It was a string of other designers as well. So, it was very successful. It built more awareness about my brand in other places other than, tri-state area. And then Philly Fashion Week, Philly's like around the corner to us. So Philly was really great. And I really focused on my kids' tutus when I did Philly Fashion Week. So it was really great. And had a great time, and that also brought more awareness. So everything I do brings awareness to the brand, but it also inspires me to want to do more.
Okay.
So recently on February 8th, which was my grandmother's birthday, I was able to present my pigment collection at New York Fashion Week, which was like the greatest honor ever. Something I've always wanted to do. You dream about those things, you're not sure if they'll ever happen. And I like to always say, you know, if I decide to stop designing tomorrow, I've been able to do everything I've set out to do within my brand. So the pigment collection is a very muted collection. It does have some color, but it's muted colors. And it's really to bring forth awareness of my albinism. Again, always an extension of me, my thoughts, my feelings. And it was just really inspired by that and just love and the power of woman, because we're like delicate creatures, but we're so strong. And I really wanted that to be seen in the collection. So I have a lot of texture. Like the embellishments are kind of hard, but then the fabrics are kind of soft.
Okay.
So it kind of does that, you know, kind of tells that story that way.
And is this a very competitive industry? Because one can only imagine, how do you get into New York Fashion Week or any other one for that matter? Is this very competitive?
It's a cutthroat industry, always has been. I always tell people you have to have tough skin. If you have tough skin and you're not really in it to win it and you're not really sure, you should take a step back and refocus and maybe think about it, you know?
Okay. And so, Sara, take us now to the moment in your life where you're like, okay, well, I'm this great fashion designer, I'm getting this notoriety, but I'm also an author, a blogger. You've had a TEDx Wilmington talk. These are a lot of different platforms that not only do you talk about your fashion brand, but you also talk about being an albino-African American woman. You also talk about just your visual impairment, just different ways and opportunities that you seek to really put some of this awareness out there. Talk to us about just your importance of finding your voice, owning your own, and using these different platforms.
I think we've spent way too many years, especially women, having no voice or just doing what was told of us.
Yes.
In the past, maybe not so much now. So I feel as though, you know, our ancestors, my family members, all the ones who have passed on, they didn't have the opportunities afforded that I have. So it's important not to be quiet about anything. And if you want to speak on it, speak on it. But I think it's not just about speaking. It's also about, you know, having a passion for it and being able to actually execute. So it's kind of like you have a plan, but what are you working on? It's kind of like when they say you really can't complain about anything if you're not actually working towards helping it.
That's
so, right. You know, I love the fact that I was able to create a fashion brand. But the thing I love most about my fashion brand is that I've used it as a platform for awareness. So with the visual impairment, you have the Vision for the Visually Impaired, which is in Newcastle, Delaware. And they, you know, growing up, they helped me if I needed any visual aids and things of that nature. So I've used my platform to give back to that cause. Some of my family members, my dad, have diabetes, and the Association of Diabetes is always going to be very, you know, important to me and true to my heart. So I've used, you know, I've given back to that organization. You know, I don't talk about these things all the time, but just because I'm not talking about them doesn't mean I'm not working toward awareness for these brands or wanting to help. So that's really what I've been able to do with, you know, my fashion. Fashion is clothes, but it's also a lot more too. So I use any platform I'm able to have as a voice to bring forth awareness. And, you know, me being an albino really inspired me to want to make my brand different and to bring forth something that someone hadn't seen before, or bring some more creativity. So that's really what my TEDx talk was about.
And one thing I admire about your journey, Sara, is that you really show not just people, but women, that you can be an entrepreneur and also still have a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, it's hard, but
and you can make
do
it successful. I mean, you have been doing it for so many years, since 2004 when you established your brand. Now talk to us about this Sara on the program director side for Women Business Center and how you've been able to cultivate that program with all of your experiences in your entrepreneurship journey.
So I love the WBC. So the WBC is short for the Women's Business Center. The WBC is a technical assistance program of the SBA, Small Business Administration. We are housed and hosted by True Access Capital, formerly known as First State Community Loan Fund. And our target is women and individuals in underserved communities and minorities. So, you know, it's a lot of different focuses there, but everything I've done has allowed me to be able to help these individuals, and especially women, at the Women's Business Center. Mostly we are doing education and creating trainings and programs and courses for small business owners. If you don't know where to start, come see us. If you need a business plan, we're here to hold your hand, and we're here to educate you to do all of these different things. So the Women's Business Center, we're rolling. We're always busy. We're always here to empower women. I say to people sometimes it feels like we're having a counseling session because, they come to us and you build that trust with your clients. And I love the fact that they trust us that much. So, no, that's what we're doing at the WBC.
and I've had the fortunate pleasure of covering some of the events here for W1822. And one thing that I've noticed is that you have a variety spectrum of women that attend these events. Yes. They're not just your small business owners or the one person who just wants to start their business. You actually have like representatives, like the state treasurer might be there, or like you just have women who are taking phenomenal roles, leadership roles within our community that are actually immersing themselves here in these events. Talk to us about like the Passport to Business Success class that you have and the Pink Experience, those two in particular.
So the Passport for Business Success program, we call it PBS for short, a lot of words.
Yes.
So PBS started off as an in-class program, and then we also opened up that platform as a online program. So right now it's only online. We have another initiative called Community Up that we're doing right now for in-class. Okay. So the Passport to Business Success is an online business planning course. It's a 13-week give or take. You are required to do one module per week. So you're creating your business plan online. Okay. You're paired with a business counselor, and they're working with you to refine what you're doing in the system to make sure that at the end you're 100% complete on your business plan. So that is actually a collaboration with a partnership with Delaware State University. So once you finish that class, you're able to get a certificate, and you also get a few credits towards a class you may want to take at DSU.
Okay. And then the Pink Experience?
So the Pink Experience is this event that I wanted to do last year. We're on a federal year, so at the end of the year, we always really do a really great event. And the Pink Experience came about. And I was really inspired to do this one-day business symposium because our clients are always asking for all of these resources and all of these things. So I went in my little memory bank and remembered all the things they said they needed and they wanted. So we had a set of classes that were more for the established business and more accelerated. And then we had a set of classes that were for like the startup business. And we ran them all day, in between layered. Yes. And then we ended with a pink table talk inspired by the red table talk. Yes. And we really got into the knit and grit of, what it really meant to be a business owner and the things that we don't talk about, publicly. Right. Did we lose any friends? Is there enough for all of us? And do you stay in your lane? And, all of those different things. So we really discussed those things. And, Tiffany Chalk Events was our planner for that event, the Pink Experience. And she really transformed the room and gave us an experience of beauty with the fresh flowers and all the colors. And, the WBC we go crazy with pink. Yeah. So you'll see pink everything and all these different shades. So that's what you see when you come to our events most of the time. So, we do these events because they empower women. We need to, as I said at that event, stop working in silos and work together. Right. And, the WBC we're an advocate of that. We want everyone to kind of come together. And if I can help you, I want to help you. And I want to introduce you and connect you to other people that can help you as well.
WBC is so inclusive in the efforts and just making sure that they have diversity women in these events, diversity women who are the speakers. I mean, from Latino to Black to white, very inclusive. And that's a great thing to speak about. And not only that, when you're recognizing people, your Herstory that's coming up in March for Women's History Month, Women International Month, all things women, you really highlight the diverse women that are doing phenomenal things in our community. Talk to us briefly about that.
So Herstory, Our History is on March 19th this year. That's a Thursday evening at the Hilton Christiana. And this will be our third year. I cannot believe this event has grown to 3 years. Yes. I'm so proud of it. And I'm so honored to be able to honor these other business owners and change makers, as I like to call our community activists, on things that they're doing that are great for our community. Think people who are doing great things in our business and you may not know, and maybe they've leveled up or they're scaling or whatever they're doing in their business. I wanted to create this event because women should be celebrated, and these small wins or large wins should be told, and they should be shared. Again, we've been quiet for so long. we don't know about all these things that people are doing. And I would like to think and hope and pray that these women that are being honored, they're setting forth some type of history too.
Yes.
So they say you should give them their flowers while they're here. So that's what we do with Herstory, our history.
That's so wonderful. And what could you share with the young woman, the young girl who might be albino, might not be, who really wants to be successful in all these different areas as a woman, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a program director, and a senior position or executive position of a company? What could you share with them that you can draw from your personal experiences in your journey?
I would say I like Nike because they say just do it. It doesn't, you know, they do. I mean, I say that jokingly, but seriously, you know,
so true.
A lot of people overthink. I'm a Capricorn, so I overthink everything. Oh, that's great. So, you know, you overthink everything, but I think that there comes a time where it's great to walk in your purpose, and I feel like that's what I do. I woke up one day a long time ago, and I said I was going to set out to do what I love to do. And it takes time. It's not an overnight success. I don't think that anything happens in the blink of an eye, but I think if you diligently work at it and you're passionate about it and you love it, it definitely will. It would all fall together. So I would definitely say don't allow the fear of not knowing to paralyze you into not doing it. One thing I can say is that if you just chip away at it a little at a time, like I said, it'll all fall together. So you should just do it.
Nice. And lastly, before we leave, what's the future for your fashion brand and also for WBC?
So the WBC is constantly growing. We're constantly making new programming, creating impact. I would say I want to keep seeing us impact our communities, grow, become more of a visible brand because people still don't know who we are. And I want to still continue to grow the program in the Kent and Sussex counties. And as far as my fashion brand, Anara Original is growing a little quicker than I thought she was, and that's a good thing. So I am doing a showing on March 28th here in downtown Wilmington. The Pigment Collection will be doing a presentation, and you can find that information online as well. And next year I'm planning to show in London, because I've been asked to do a show there as well.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, Sara, thank you so much for your time,
me.
Putting Delaware on the map. It's truly our pleasure. That's what we do here at WA 1022. We really highlight the positive, not even people, just organizations that are really happening here in our city. So thank you so much
for having me.
Yes, thank you. And on behalf of all of us here at WI 1022, we'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you for watching this episode of In Focus. I've been your host, Yesenia Taveras.